Viva Lives is producing this show at Soler, which Soler seemed, they asked me for, Martin, we want you in Arleta, we want you in all of Asia. I said, no, I want to do this in an intimate fashion where I'm not screaming on stage, I wanted to be able to tell my story behind every song, which I don't usually do. But now that I've been in the business 40 years, Viva Live has decided to partner with, of course, using Soler. My home court advantage is Soler because my favorite place to perform. So they have allowed me to do this on November 19th at the theater at Soler to give you 40 years of my music. So, and it's so great because the person who gave me the very, very first break is Victor Rosario. So this is very meaningful for me. In fact, I was going to sing it for the show, but I wanted to dedicate the whole concert to Victor Rosario. Because without him, I don't think I would be celebrating 40 years. You know, most people would probably say, we don't need you anymore. Because ang dami mga artists na sa Viva, you don't need one more when they ask for me. So the least I can do is that, dedicate the whole evening to the person who actually discovered me, and that's Victor Rosario. Because I have my favorites of my songs, but it's not the favorites of those of everybody. It's not a common favorite for everybody. So I chose the songs yung talagang, feel ko lang I could be wrong. These are the songs in the last 40 years that people are like number 1, number 2, or number 10 on their list of Martin songs. Another thing, Alan, that I'm doing is I'm having to relearn my old songs because I don't sing those songs anymore. But the good news is, Alan, at this point in my life, in my career, as I celebrate 40 years, I've learned to embrace me. I've always tried to be someone else or sound like someone else or sing someone else's song kasi sikat siya. Baka yun ang hinahanap ng audience. But I think after 40 years, I've now been given the license to just sing me, just do me. And I think that's what people who sit in the seats in front of me, that's what they want to see. So I made a lineup for the first time in my life. I made a lineup of, I think, 98% Martin songs. Risky. Because baka mamaya maantok yung mga tao. Valid din ako, di ba? So we have to find ways to keep you awake and maybe the stories that we tell in between. Remember, I did this already at the Walt Disney Concert Hall last August 28th. Can you imagine the people in the audience are not even from, I mean, they're all Filipino, but Filipinos have migrated. And they reacted so well. I could hear their every comment and the reaction to the songs that I've not done in a long, long time that I'm doing. So that's what you're going to hear. And you're going to see me go down memory lane. Also, I wasn't going to announce it, but I think I should announce it. Of all my 40 years, who has my musical director been? Louie, it's time to be my special guest. Not my musical director, not pour the whole pressure of the show again. So we got the Louie, the #1 fan of Louie, and that's Marvin Carrillo. And we will guest Louie in the show and preempt his own, I know he has a concert for his 45 years in the business, preempt it by honoring him on that day for all the great shows he's given me in my 40 years. He will be my special guest. There'll be a couple of other surprises, but that's the one thing I can tell you about, and that's Louie Ocampo as my special guest. Not my MD anymore. Sa dami siya sa Tower ng Tanghalan, he's already Rosario, di ba? Hindi na pwede yung MD lang kung hindi very special guest. 4, yeah. The first one has to be August 20, Folk Arts Theater, 1983. That's my very first concert ever. It was never televised because it was so bad. Not one right note. I was so out of tune. Back then, we had small sound systems. Back then, believe it or not, the screaming was endless. So that's my excuse as to why I couldn't hear myself on stage. When we saw the TV playback, which was also the first time, for us anyway, to shoot a concert with, I think, 2 or 3 cameras. We didn't have any of the special effects you have these days. It was so bad. I wasn't in tune once. So it's never been seen. So that's one. The second one will probably be the first time I did a football stadium show, which nobody was doing at the time, and that's March 17, 1984, Martin's Rage. The third would be when I became a father for the very first time. And then the third of your four questions would probably be when I became a father. Then my singing changed, my writing style changed. I thought everything was forever. I thought everything was, there was no end to anything about being a father, being a husband. The fourth is when I was no longer a husband. Because then I started writing songs of regret, songs of story, songs of look what I've done. I mean, I was suicidal at one time. In showbiz, you go through these stages. Those four would probably be the highlights because they helped me to become who I am today. In the industry, number one, Pops. Number two, Gary V. Number three, Regine. Regine and Augie has to be together because medyo they're in the same house. Ariel Rivera. For long, Say That You Love Me in no particular order. Say That You Love Me, You Are My Song, I'll Be There For You. Probably my, as far as Tagalog, Peggy Samsigit. I don't have four favorite or great intrigues because they were all true. Yan ang problema ng artista ngayon. I mean, they're so used to telling the truth. Back then, we were so used to lying. Lying was good before. It made us mysterious. We could hide. Oh no, we're just friends. Bullshit. We're just friends. But now you can see it online now. There's no more lying. So, what's my point? Of the four intrigues written about me, all four were true. Yes, I was unfaithful. Yes, I was not a good father or husband or whatever it was. All of those things were true, except maybe one. When they first tried to ask, who is going to be an unwed father? It was either Raymond Lauchenko, Mark Nievera, or Gary Valenciano. That one was wrong. I was part of that. So, but all the intrigues, Alan, we needed. We don't have intrigues anymore because you know the answer. That's why we have no shows. We have no more buzz and all the. You know it. Before tomorrow, you know what the intrigue is going to be. And then the next day, it's solved already. Was I the unwed father? No. See? Can you believe? It wasn't even me. And one of the highlights I think that I didn't mention is the highlight of bouncing back. That's a talent that I learned how to come back. I have fallen so often. I failed so many times that it's become one of the highlights of my career, my 40 years, how to bounce back. And that's a talent that some of these young kids probably will never have to learn. Because sa bilisan ang turnover ng mga artists yun, then one day it's this guy, this girl, this group, this love team. Back in the day, you were hapa yung mga love team namin. I even married mine, right? It went by so fast. The fact that you're saying 40 years, I work here, that is even written on a poster, it's news to me because it didn't feel like 40 years, even during the bad and slow days when the phone wasn't ringing. We had phones before, actually. When the phone wasn't ringing, it's hard because my host is so much younger than me. That was a time that really went slow. But as I recall it, as I remember it now, it is. I can't believe it's been 40. Can't believe the number is 40. But the real hard question to answer is what's next. That's going to be the hardest. That's why I said earlier, I've learned to embrace me. Meaning to say, my niche, where I belong in the industry. Like Barry Manilow, if you heard him sing any other person's song, you might even be disappointed, diba? Or ang ganda yung version niya, or sana kinanta niya yung song niya. And what's my point? I need to sing my songs from this day to the next 40 years. That's my niche. Now, if I'm going to do a corporate show and they have a certain theme, sige, mag-ayos ko yung lineup ko. But if it's a Martin concert, we can't do it now the way I used to, which is every year, twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, because it's going to be the same songs. So I'll have more collaborations. Me with another artist, me with many other artists. Big shows, small shows. Now that I've been 40 years in the business, there's no such thing as a small show. There's no such thing as a big show. There's no such thing as a small paycheck. There's no such thing as a big paycheck. Billing is no longer, that's optional. I could care less about billing. Nothing matters to me anymore except to entertain and to enjoy what I'm doing. There's no pressure. There's no competition in my mind. I'm not trying to compete with someone the way I did in the 80s and 90s, which was really fun, just so you know. If you ask me about the Concert King title, I hate it because it's so much pressure. I wish they said something like the wannabe Concert King or the soon to be or the next in line or something, but the Concert King. What gets better than Concert King, Viva? So you have to be good. So the way I've told myself is I don't have to be the Concert King. I have to have a show, and everything I do has to be fit for a king. So you're the king, and you're the king, and you're the king, and everybody there, you're all the audience is the king. The show has to be the kind of show that is fit for a king. That's what makes me the Concert King. Pops, Robin, Ram, and Santino, and the mother, Katrina, all of us in one room. So that in itself is really weird, but see what we do for our children, how life how we have evolved through all of this, that we all know that we have to be there for our children. Thank God Robin and Ram are not, don't have any special issues, are not on the spectrum, as they say, the way Santino is. But you know what was the hardest thing to do? Is to be able to say words like autism and special or, things, you don't say those words to an actual child who has autism. Yet we were talking this way in front of Santino in the audience. So I realized we're saying words like autism and special needs on the spectrum, and he's right there. So that was the first time we actually told our child through this event that you are special. You have autism. You're an autistic child, which we try to not to tell our kids. We only realized it while we were on stage telling the audience about this new foundation we're starting. So people were like in awe that from there he raised his hand in the audience. The special child raised his hand. I said, yes, you. Well, what's your question? He goes, I'm not going to play bad videos anymore. I'm not going to. He started repeating everything I used to teach him about things he shouldn't watch that drives him crazy. He's telling the audience about our relationship as a child with challenges and a parent trying to deal with his challenges. He went up on stage, started telling the audience, thank you for being here. The people were all in tears. Everybody was in tears. It was a special moment, and I think people should know that we're very proud of our special child. And we hope that we're able to help other parents and their special needs children. One of my dreams was to the Walt Disney Concert Hall Zone. Check, parang bucket list of venues. That was one. Because I'm the first Filipino artist to perform there. Of course, Leia Salonga did it 2008, but she's really more of a world artist. But literally from the Philippines, I was the first. That's one. Of the venues, like I said earlier, okay sa atin kahit maliit na venue ngayon. Happy na ako dyan. Happy ako sa mga maliit na shows, sa malaking shows. But collaboration dream, I would love to perform with an international artist na yung talagang back-to-back, hindi lang guest. Kunyari, Michael Bublé and yours truly together on stage, ako representing the Philippines, him representing America, and just, collaborating. That would be one of them. Another dream of mine sa bucket list ko, share kayo sa inyo, is the chance to give back. That's one thing I don't know if any artist is even thinking about, but I'll give you an example. There's an artist that I talked to already who did front act for me when he was a little boy. So I said, tell me when you're going to be in your hometown for a big concert, because I want to be the front act for you. And the guy goes, excuse me? You want to be my front act? That's my way of giving back. He was front act at the age of 7, and now he's a big star, and I want to front act for him to give back. And that for me is something on my bucket list. There in this mountain. In Calgary, Canada, I said, if you ever have a big concert, I was going to surprise him and just do it. But it looks like I have to tell him, and now I'm telling all of you, that that's on my bucket list. I don't know when or where, but it's going to happen. If our schedules can permit, I will give back to that 7-year-old kid who's now a big star. My father, for one, We did it also at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, where we paid tribute to my father. Of course, all the people who artists call fans. I have a hard time with the word fans. That's one of two F words I don't like to say. You get it too. But all the F words that I like to say is friends. And these people have been my friends for years. So those who show up or those who watch it later on YouTube, whatever, it's a tribute to them because I don't think I would be on that stage without the friends who have been with me. Christy Carlos, who's here, represents probably all the fan clubs or friend clubs that I have still with me through the years. Um, Aside from Louie, it would also be the musicians because we're going to have a bigger band, a bigger orchestra than we did in Walt Disney Concert Hall. I think Marvin is planning to put strings and horns and make it a little bit more special than what we did in Los Angeles. To the musicians, because for me, they're the really gifted ones. They never get any credit, and I want to be able to give them the credit that they deserve. They're the ones who went to school. They're the ones who had sleepless nights learning how to read and write music, but I'm getting all the applause. So for that night and the nights after that, I want it always to be an equal billing thing between me and whoever band I'm using. That's Marvin Carrido and his band and his small orchestra that he's forming together. They will represent every musician that I have performed with. The production people, the one production assistant or the production manager, stage manager, Epoy, his name is Epoy. He's been with me since day one. I haven't worked with him for many, many years. We got him back to do this show, to be the production manager for this show as well. So it's a tribute to everyone. I don't ever want to take all the credit for anything that I've done. It's just because the people who were interested to hear my songs, Viper has asked me to sign with them again. AP at CBN is asking me to sign with them again. After 40 years in the business, no one could ask for any other better gift than having tiwala, to have people who have faith in you. And that means so much to me. To be remembered while you're still alive, that's a great honor. Well, you know what's worked for me is not having a plan, believe it or not. I don't know if that makes sense. But anything that comes my way, I'm equally happy. They're all blessings. And they somehow become accolades in my life because they somehow have brought me to the next year and to the next year and to the next year. And what I mean by that are a chain of memories, moments that you'll remember them and love to remember, not those memories you don't want to remember. We don't want to remember. In my case, in my personal life, I couldn't be happier. I introduced to you my girlfriend at the time, and I know that one day we will end up as husband and wife. I just don't know what day that is. But I've been so afraid of marriage. I know that she's not afraid of it because she and I are both with children without having any husband or wife. So we're okay this way, but I think I owe it to her. She's really more the woman, I think. Because the wedding is all about the woman. You'll see when you get older. But I know that's something that we need to do one of these days, but maybe not soon. But it's in the plan. I mean, it's really part of my life, and then if it takes me another 10 years to give you another moment like this, where we're talking about my history and so on, maybe that will be part of those questions. So how is it like now that you've been 10 years married? Who knows? Only God knows what the plan is. I just am looking forward to it. I hate to plan because it's not fun. It's more fun. We can. Filipino singers, Filipino artists, I'm confident, yes. Even producers and writers from the Philippines, yes. Because we never forget our culture, we never forget our people. In fact, we seem to be more, the younger singers now and writers, they seem to be more vocal about it. Thank God. Then, during the 80s, we were not. We would go to singing festivals and win, okay now. But we were not vocal about it. We were not passionate about it. We were not loud. And now I think I say loud because there's so many different platforms where you can be loud, right? So you're making a difference now. I see it. I hear it. I can feel it in the youth with them wanting not just to know who she is or who he is, but who is a Filipino. I see a lot of it more now. And I'm so glad, I'm so blessed to be alive to see that. And I will see it. We will always continue to be faithful, patriotic, and passionate about it. But in other countries, I think they're so set on change, real change, quick change, younger singers as opposed to singers who can actually sing, groups of people who can dance synchronized but they're lip syncing. It seems to be okay now with the public. They pay big bucks to watch good looking people lip sync or sing over their voices. That wasn't allowed in the 80s, right? I mean, you better sing. You better have a good band behind you. Oh, I love the horn section. But now no one really notices anything. If the song hits you in a certain way and it makes you feel a certain way, then you love that song. But you forget it so quickly because a new one comes along. Back in our time, during the 80s, we really took the time to tell the story and we didn't have all the platforms they have today to get our story told. So now I challenge the youth, the new songwriters, the new singers, the new actors, the new everything. Represent. You need to represent. You need to take whatever we left or whatever baton nahulog sa ground, you need to pick it up and wave it higher. You need to be an expression, an extension of what they did during the 80s. I'm laughing all the time, or I'm crying. Don't hold it in. I don't hold things in anymore. I'm not worried about how I look. I'm not worried about, even back then. Um, but I think the one secret I can share with you that I think is could answer your questions. I'm always, even when I'm not happy, I'm, I love to be in pursuit of happiness. Sometimes, for me, you have to hurt before you can really feel good. Or to be more symbolic, the harder it rains, the brighter the sunshine. For me, it's even the idea of wanting to be happy or to do something that makes me happy, to always look forward to something every day. That's why I always have to be busy. Sometimes my people behind me, they're so tired because I'm so full of energy when it comes to wanting to do something. I'm worried if 4 or 5 months from now there's no offer or no schedule. I'm already worried because I love to look forward to something. I love to prepare. Oh my God, in April I'm going to be in things like that. I love to be spontaneous, but I love to always have something to look forward to. I think that might be the reason why you might see the same guy from back then till now, because that never ended. A lot of things about me have changed a lot. I'm slower, my voice is not as high as it used to be. Um, my breathing is not the way it was then. Then I didn't even know I was breathing. Now I'm even talking about breathing. That's the difference. That guy didn't talk about breathing. This guy does talk about breathing. That's the difference. But both guys from the past and now, that's it. We always want something to look forward to, and we hold on to that. I guess it's hope, happiness. I love to be in love. I'm in love all the time. But now with Ange, now she's been in my life, what, 15 years, right, sweetheart? I've been keeping her a secret for so long because, as you know, our world can really be bad. The bashers don't stop. Doubt that I was going to last this long, it's every other day. Every other day there's doubt. I mean, there's disbelief. What? Really? That's why when they asked the question earlier about the 40 years, I can't believe it's been 40 years. But I think the secret there is that I never considered what I have as a career. It was, as a kid, it was a dream come true. That's the guy you met, living the dream. And I've been living it for 40 years. This is the best job ever, where I get to go and make people happy, make people sing along, maybe forget their troubles for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe go on, like during the pandemic, I went on Facebook Live. I've never done that before. I did it for 122 days straight. I brought my sister, my twin sister, who is actually the real sister, the real singer in the family. I brought her out to sing with me for those 122 days, and now she's on a move every other day. I mean, I just love to change people's lives in a positive way. I wanted to keep them company during the pandemic because I knew people were really getting frustrated about just being at home. So I invaded Facebook Live by singing all my songs for them and chatting with people, answering questions. It means so much to me. And it's not a career, because I think someone with a career wouldn't have done that. Because I jeopardized endorsements, I jeopardized concerts. No one's going to pay to watch me anymore. They can watch me for free on Facebook Live. So, but it didn't matter. You can be many things in the business, But the one thing you should never be is satisfied with yourself, with the audience, with your performance. You can always do better. I think it's up to you to compare. Me, I'm not going to. Because if I go back to that guy, I'm going to have many regrets. I'm going to say that my voice was higher then, I was thinner then, I was lighter. There were so many things about me then. But I'm more in tune now. If you want to compare that, he was out of tune a lot. I made sure I've learned to be more into. See, baby's trying to think, when is he out of tune? I'll show you the video. Can you imagine? Opening number, wrong key, the whole song. Beginning to end. Hinakot ko yun. Anyway, to compare the two would be something I don't think I will do because I may have be afraid to come out on stage. I always like the element of surprise. I always like not to over rehearse and over plan and overthink. I always work with the audience. I have that trait. So I'm hoping that that audience will not compare the 1982 to the 2022 Martin. I hope they're just anxious to hear the songs we used to sing in 82 with the body and the voice and the face of the 2022. I had many opportunities. There's another time that, remember Arsenio Hall? I called him on a payphone in a shopping mall. I got this close to the talent coordinator. I said, I'm like the Arsenio Hall of back then I had Mad, the TV show. I'm like the Arsenio Hall of the Philippines. I'm the one talking to this guy, to this girl, and she goes, I'm so sorry, but are you a friend of Arsenio? I said, absolutely not. So she goes, I'm sorry, he only guests his friends. So if there is a chance to guest on one of those talk shows or any show in America, I had another chance too. Remember the TV show called The World's Best? And it was Pops. You know that was offered to me. You know this? It was offered to me, but why? What did I do? I was busy. I was the one. I was the one who suggested Pops. I said she would be the better judge. That's how she got picked. So yeah, but I would love to. I would really love to be and represent. It's so nice. I'm so proud to be a Filipino artist, and I really want the world to know what we have. So I'm so happy with the new singers of today, that Casey Tambingans and so on. People are drooling over them again because of all the social media. They know who they are. They don't have to guest on a talk show anymore. Are you kidding? Because of the news, the platforms now, we don't need to do that anymore. So my call to Arsenio was not needed. Just make sure you do something that's followable. Worth following. The theater at Soler, November 19, I guess, 8 o'clock at night, huh? 8 p.m. Marvin Carrito and his orchestra will be my background. My special guest, our special guest, is Louie Ocampo, who celebrates 45 years in the industry. We hope to share that with you, and we know we will try our very best to bring back the old Martin, the young Martin, and the new Martin, all in one night.